So we're in Heywood Cemetery today to tell this little story because this cemetery's got a link to one of the most famous aircraft carriers in UK history, which was HMS ARK Royal. So this is Heywood Cemetery, which is in obviously the borough of Rochdale. This cemetery obviously has many different soldiers' graves with all different stories. So I felt a little bit compelled to tell this certain story actually. So Heywood Cemetery was opened in 1856 and is still an active graveyard today. So due to the age of the graveyard, it has built up numerous different soldiers' graves, which all come with a different story really. And I feel really compelled to tell this story because of its nature really. So the name of this grave is David Harold Taylor. So David was obviously serving with the Royal Navy, and it says there was some kind of accident or whatever. It's hard to understand how he actually died. Is what I'm trying to get at when it says the word accident. Now, what I find really sad about the story, he was only 21, and obviously his family had to find out that this had happened. Now all the families reunited all in one grave now, but I think David was the first one to go in, and then obviously his parents went in after he did. So it says the accident happened on the 30th of October 1971, and although this happened at sea, David's body was brought back to Heywood. So the first ever ARK Royal was in 1538. That was like the first ship, which was obviously the first name actually to go to sea under that name, and then obviously this is the third one we're after, which is RO9. So it's a HMS ARK Royal RO9, which looks like this.
Down safely, but only just a few seconds ahead of the unexpected. The emergency crash crew leap out after a footloose oil drum and manhandle it into the catwalk. That was...
So any soldier's death or any soldier's grave signifies they've paid the ultimate sacrifice for the country, which for me is just a true test of courage and honour. So sometimes it's just important, I think, just to recognise the accomplishments of people from the past. So what I'm going to do now is something not many people have tried before. So I'm going to go up to the grave with AI scanner, which is Dola, and scan this grave, and she's going to tell us all about this grave.
Full grave scan, Heywood Cemetery. Inscription: in loving memory of David Harold Taylor, killed serving on H.M.S. ARK Royal, October 30th, 1971, aged 21 years. Beloved son of Lily and Joseph, dear brother of Irene. Also of Harold Joseph Taylor, died February 3rd, 1976, husband and dad. Also of Lily, died February 24th, 2015, aged 90. The story, exactly what you suspected. This is David Harold Taylor, serving in the Royal Navy on the aircraft carrier HMS ARK Royal. He was killed in an accident on board on the 30th of October 1971, just months before the ship was decommissioned. He was only 21 years old. The anchor symbol top right confirms his Royal Navy service. HMS ARK Royal, Britain's most famous aircraft carrier at the time. The accident that killed David was a tragic on-board incident. He died in service. He's buried here in Heywood, his family home, even though he died at sea. Family Harold Joseph Taylor, his father, died 1976. Lily, his mother, lived to Sembilanpula, died tahun 2015. Irene, his sister. Summary: you were spot on, Baz. This is exactly what you thought.
So if you Google it, HMS ARK Royal, this is what you'll get. Obviously 5 different distinct warships, obviously over time from the Royal Navy, spanning from Elizabethan flagship to modern aircraft carriers. So which aircraft carrier is the one that we need here? So the one that we need here is H.M.S. ARK Royal RO9, which is just coming up on the screen now. So this aircraft carrier RO9 was commissioned in 1955, and obviously it was quite famous actually, and ended up in a BBC documentary. Now I'm sure they launched F4 Phantoms off this one. Now I can't be 100%, but I'm convinced that it is, because
Carrier-borne strike force. From 0 to 160 miles per hour in a matter of seconds. It flies at twice the speed of sound. Its Sparrow and Sidewinder missiles pack a powerful punch.
The Phantom embarked for the first time aboard H.M.S. ARK Royal in June 1970. Because of the burning and buckling of the Saratoga's decks, British Eagle and ARK Royal carriers needed water-cooled blast deflectors and deck plates. Because of prohibitive costs, only the ARK received this upgrade, which did indeed solve the problem. The primary role of the Phantom FG Mark I was air-to-air interception, with a secondary role of ground attack.
Baz, here's the full picture on HMS ARK Royal, the very ship young David Taylor served on. HMS ARK Royal RO9. The facts. Basics. Laid down 1943. Commissioned the 28th of February 1955. Decommissioned the 14th of February 1979. Crew. Approximately 2,250 ships company, approximately 2,640 to 2,740 including aircrew on board. Displacement, approximately 43,000 tons fully loaded, one of the largest carriers the Royal Navy ever operated. The Phantom Connection, exactly what you found. Major refit 1967 to 1970, specially to operate the McDonnell Douglas F-4K Phantom FG.1. The Royal Navy's Mach II jet fighter, 892 Naval Air Squadron, was the only RN squadron flying Phantoms, and they flew only from ARK Royal. Her full air group, Phantoms plus Blackburn Buccaneers plus Gannets plus Sea King helicopters, roughly 39 aircraft total, service and missions, NATO exercises across the Atlantic, Mediterranean, North Sea, Beira Patrol enforcing blockade off East Africa, worldwide deployments, no major combat but constant readiness throughout the Cold War. She was the last conventional fixed-wing carrier the Royal Navy had. When she paid off in 1979, Britain had no big deck carriers left for years. The unsinkable joke, 2 ARK Royals. The second ARK Royal, the World War II one, is where the legend started. Goebbels' propaganda ministry claimed they sank her at least half a dozen times before she was actually torpedoed in 1941. The third ARK Royal carried that same nickname forward. The crew joked she was the ship that refused to sink because she survived political cuts, budget threats, and endless refits when everyone said she'd be scrapped. End of the ship. David Taylor died on board the 30th of October 1971, still years before she finally paid off. She was decommissioned 1979, towed to Scotland, and scrapped 1980 to 1983. Many former crew went to say goodbye.
So there's not much more really that I can do apart from show some slow motion from some of the takeoffs from the ARK Royal from its time, the RO9. Now, I did make a reference to the Phantom F4s, which what you can see here, but I don't know if there was any link to his death and the Phantom F4 planes. So I'm not suggesting either or really. I would just mention that the Phantom F4s, which were a really famous plane for its time as well, took off from this aircraft carrier. So ultimately, David was a link between this aircraft carrier and Heywood Cemetery.